Welcome to Chapter 1, The Business of Accounting. This is a brief PowerPoint that will summarize parts of the chapter that you are required to read. Most weeks you will have a PowerPoint to go along with the textbook or the practicum material. However, you will not find a PowerPoint for Chapter 2. Accounting is known as the language of finance or the language of business. During the semester, you will be learning the terminology used by bookkeepers and accountants. Your first assignment requires you to look up the definitions for common accounting terminology. You may already be familiar with some of these terms. For example, the term revenue. This represents an increase in assets resulting from the sale of goods or performances of services for customers and clients. Every individual is essentially a business. Accounting affects all of our lives. Every time you receive money or spend money, an accounting transaction is taking place. All of these transactions can then be summarized and presented in meaningful reports. For example, when you buy a cup of coffee at a coffee shop, the owner records the transaction as a sale or revenue, and for you, this transaction represents an expense. Once accounting information and transactions are summarized into report form, the accounting reports are used by internal and external users of financial information. Internal users would be managers for planning, organizing, and running a business. External users of financial information include investors, creditors, and others such as taxing authorities, regulatory agencies, and customers. Taxing authorities include both the IRS and can also include the Tohono O'odham Nation. Here are some examples of questions asked by internal users of financial data and reports. Here are some examples of questions asked by external users of financial data and reports. Our textbook presents the top 10 small business accounting mistakes. You can find these on pages 18, 19, and 20. I highlighted 4 of these mistakes that are listed. The first one, the true bank balance. As we will learn, it's important to keep track of the bank balance that is reconciled to your actual cash balance in the bank. Also, bookkeeping tasks should not be avoided. Personal accounts should be maintained separately from business accounts. And as a business owner or manager, you should always have a good working knowledge of your accounting records. Learning and understanding how to apply the principles of accounting and good business practices will help business owners avoid these 10 mistakes. Pages 22 through 31 in your textbook present an interesting discussion on historical and modern accounting. Accounting rules in this country are developed by the Financial Accounting Standards Board, also known as FASB, and for government organizations, the Government Accounting Standards Board, also known as GASB. See your textbook, page 33 and 34, for more information on FASB and GASB. The fraud scandals of the early 2000s resulted in strict guidelines for businesses. The Congress passed the Sarbanes-Oxley Act that resulted in the following provisions. Chief executive officers and chief financial officers are held more personally responsible for the numbers and reports. Companies must also adopt strong internal controls and form an audit team. They must also keep accounting records and support for the numbers in reports. In this class, we will expand on fraud and unethical behavior, including fraudulent accounting, that impacts all businesses. What we will be talking about is ways to minimize fraud in business by putting into place the appropriate policies and procedures. So what are the rules of accounting? They are the generally accepted accounting principles, also known as GAAP, the rules of the finance and accounting game. I will be referring to GAAP throughout the semester. Learning and understanding how to apply principles of accounting and good business practices helps business owners to avoid the mistakes listed on the previous slide. We will be revisiting the rules of business throughout the semester. We will apply these rules during the second half practicum section of the course. This concludes our Chapter 1 PowerPoint. Be sure to read Chapter 1 in the textbook. Also, complete the Chapter 1 Accounting Language Definitions assignment. You can find that on the class module.